Well, we now go off to Johannesburg, where we speak to our reporter Katlego Legodi. Rea Vaya bus operator PioTrans will brief the media today. PioTrans was placed under business rescue in December in 2023 following a dispute with the creditors who threatened to repossess the company's buses. Allegations of maladministration and fraud led to PioTrans failing to meet its obligations on a 12-year contract to operate the bus rapid transit system in the city of Johannesburg. Katlego Legodi now joining us this morning. Katlego, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. What do you expect them to brief us on this morning?
A very good morning to you, Eldrin, and to our viewers at home. Well, it's all systems go when you look at the work that has been underway with the business rescue practitioner, Mr. Tayob Mahir, who's really been hard at work engaging with stakeholders, including creditors, in terms of how they can come up with work and plans to really rescue PioTrans and safeguard the interests of Rea Vaya. We know very well that really things have not been smooth here for quite some time. The contract that PioTrans and Rea Vaya have had with the city ending now in the month of January 2024, and the business rescue practitioner is just stepping into this particular space to ensure that really this process or the buses and the fleet is not compromised when you look at what has been happening over time. We hear that as we speak, the executive of this particular company, PioTrans, have been more or less placed on suspension, and most of them are just part of the investigations that are underway by the business rescue practitioner. So where we are today, we are coming to you live from the Rea Vaya bus depot here in Soweto. This is where they're going to be briefing us today, where various of the stakeholders from the City of Johannesburg, the MMC, Kenny Kunene, is also expected to form part of those that are here today as they give us a sense of how the year is going to go for PioTrans. Also looking at the fact, Eldrin, that schools have opened, so buses are needed. Businesses have opened their doors for the year, so these buses are needed to ferry people to and fro in terms of what has been happening here. I'm going to bring into the conversation now one of the stakeholders. They're here with us, Santako. Rebecca joins us now as Santako to give us a sense of how you're receiving the news as an entity of what has been happening at PioTrans and at Rea Vaya. We see the business rescue practitioner really agile and upbeat about rescuing this business and safeguarding Rea Vaya, and we're expecting as well to just hear more around clarity on this process and how it has been going. Just give us a sense of your reaction to the developments around PioTrans and Rea Vaya as Santako.
Look, as is the case with every South African, we're very concerned. We think that it is regrettable that things had to come to where they are now, where the operation has essentially been given to a business rescue practitioner. We believe that things could have been done better. So you start thinking that what are some of the preventative measures that were looked at, right? So it's very sad that it had to get here, but we're also saying that not all hope is lost. The business rescue practitioner, in the engagements that we've had with them as the taxi industry, they seem to be having a proper plan. I'm sure most of that will be unpacked today during the media briefing, which I would imagine a lot of people are anticipating. We're hopeful. We hope that we'll get a resolution. You'd know that the taxi industry is one of the biggest stakeholders in terms of the operations of BRTs holistically, and it's one of the business models that we're quite hopeful will introduce us to the world of formalized business as an industry that for the longest time was operating in an informal setting. So we're optimistic that there will be a clear plan and that it will definitely be executed, and that what is left of this business can be salvaged.
Also the year has started, and we know very well that the work that you do as the taxi industry gets supplemented by Rea Vaya in terms of ferrying people to and fro. Maybe give us an understanding of what has been happening as these challenges we see play out at PioTrans.
Look, our fleets are overwhelmed, and it goes from understanding the number of vehicles that you have, because you also remember that when BRTs are introduced, some of our vehicles had to be moved from the road, right, to make way for the buses. And now we're back to square one with a lot more less vehicles. So what we've seen, for instance, in this particular area yesterday is that there was a lot more demand for transportation. And we've made that which we can, because obviously that's what we've always done as the taxi industry. But when you look at issues such as inclusion of the traffic flow, it's been a very serious problem. So that's one of the reasons why we're saying in this space, the understanding of an integrated public transport network. We need them to sort out what is left in terms of the problems, but to start working as they fix some of the bigger problems so that we're able to ferry South Africans, in the most comfortable of ways. We're doing that which we can. I don't think we can say necessarily that we're overwhelmed, but it always helps to have diversity, as has been the case since the introduction of these buses.
And also, just before we let you go, we know very well that most of the people in the taxi industry would be shareholders in terms of the operations of Rea Vaya and the BRT. Maybe give us a sense of how have they been, feeling in terms of these developments around, PioTrans, and are they worried? Do you get a sense that most of them are worried as shareholders around just the entity, the business, in terms of their interest as well, that they've more or less invested into this particular business?
Look, like I've said to you, that this journey for us of the introduction of BRTs, be it Rea Vaya or any other, has changed a lot in terms of the reality of the taxi industry. So you've got some people who have sacrificed parts of their businesses to embrace this. So there's been a lot of uncertainty, there's been a lot of worry, and that's why you're seeing so many of them have come here today to hear for themselves, to say exactly how far are we in terms of rescuing the situation, but also get an understanding of how we got here to start with, because you need to be able to diagnose the problem to be able to get a solution. So there's also a sense of optimism. I mean, our president, the president of Santaco, has a lot of knowledge in terms of the BRT systems and the buses in their entirety, and that's why his executive from the national office is also here to try and also weigh in. Immediately after this media briefing, they'll be having an engagement separately with the leadership of the business rescue practitioners to get a sense of what plans do they have in place and how is it that the national office can also intervene to find solutions. All that we want really is the interests of the stakeholders, especially those from the taxi industry, to still be secured and for them to be able to have a sense of certainty that things will proceed with some sense of normalcy here.
Yeah, Rebecca, thank you very much for your time. Rebecca is the national spokesperson from Santaco, and of course we know very well that as the taxi industry, they've also been working with the BRT system to ensure that there's a flow. We have a multi-stakeholder event that is happening here. As I told you, government officials are also here, and we're hearing as well that today, Eldrin, they're going to be unleashing or revealing a fleet of new buses. I'm going to step out of shot just for my colleague Kwazi to show you what is happening behind us. The multi-stakeholders are here. You can see there are balloons. There is a ribbon that is going to be cut here. We are hearing that there are about 45 of those buses that are going to be revealed as part of a new fleet going into the year 2024. The concerns really from a lot of people, and especially commuters, have been around the waiting period. Most of them have been around the breakages in some of the buses. So you would see a week or two whereby there's a bus, a Rea Vaya bus, stuck on the side of the road, and that really compromises the commuters. But we see the business rescue practitioner really agile and upbeat, Aldrin, about rescuing this business, going after those that were part of forming the maladministration at PioTrans, and really ensuring that there's a smooth sailing in terms of safeguarding the interest of some shareholders. Some of those are here with us today. Aldrin?